This is The Speaking Show. I'm David Newman, and you're tuned in to the #1 podcast for speakers, consultants, and experts who want to speak more profitably. Terry Brock, CSP, CPAE, my good friend with all the C's, all the P's, all the E's. How are you, buddy?
I am doing just right. Excited to be with you today, David. Let's make some magic.
So Terry Brock is a technology expert, technology evangelist. He is always on the cutting edge of what's new and what's cool. And the best thing, and the thing I love about Terry, he's a giver, he's a love bug, and he speaks plain English about this crazy stuff that is so complex and so crazy out there. So let's start talking about video. I know you have a very exciting video thing that you're cooking up. Tell us about sort of where web video has been and, more importantly, where it's going right now for speakers and experts like us.
Well, David, video is really exciting because it's like the closest thing to actually being there. I know it's best if I could say, hey, I'm going to come to your office. I'm coming up from Orlando. I'm going to be there in Philly. You and I get together. We have lunch or dinner or something. That's the best. However, the reality is we can't be all over the world all at the same time. However, you can be literally all around the world for those that want you with video. And I think today it's really exciting because, David, you've seen this happen. You and I have been in technology long enough. We know there's a couple of forces that have come into play that make it really good. Number one, the quality of video is much better. I remember in the early days, I was on Skype when it first came out. And it was like, okay, this is good, but it would normally crash. If you had only 4 crashes during a 15-minute call, that was considered a successful call. It wasn't anything against Skype. It was just that it was new technology. Well, today, it's normal to have a crystal clear communication with video and audio. How's my audio coming through, by the way, now?
Brilliant.
So you see, that's important. Audio is the most important part of video. You want to make sure that that is working really well, that the audio sounds good. And as we're doing the podcast here, we want to make sure, obviously, that people can hear it clearly. And so that is one of the real advantages that we have. Another area that also is important is that we've got greater bandwidth now, meaning that it's much easier. We can send better video through. We're really on the edge of 4K video. You can do it if you have real blazing fast, but for right now, usually 720 is good enough for a video. 1080 is nice. You can do a little bit of that, but just for the sake of bandwidth right now, as we're recording this today, it would be good for 720. Then actually, there's a third area that's really even important for the marketing side, because now more people are accepting video. They accept it. They go, okay, I can use this. I like video. I'm used to YouTube. I'm used to watching the webinars. I'm used to seeing that. So then now there's a psychological agreement that, yeah, we can do this. And that opens up a world of opportunities for marketers, because now we've got the ability, we've got the quality, we've got the ability to deliver it, and we've got the acceptance. Those three coming together gives thought leaders, coaches, speakers, facilitators great opportunity to create their content and send it out to the world and make some money, which is a real good thing.
Yes, absolutely. So both on the marketing side, on the content marketing side, and the actually value delivery side, how we deliver our content, like you were saying, video, webinars, online chats, anything that we can do to add value to clients, it's going to have a video component to it, or we should think about how it might have a video component to it. Now, you've put together the Video Dream Team, and you've got an awesome program coming up called Video Rockstars. Tell us about how that came to be, and also I want to kind of play a little inside baseball and talk about speaker-to-speaker collaboration, because I know that you're also a great collaborator and you always like to showcase and highlight your smart friends, like I like to showcase and highlight my smart friends. So tell us about the program, and then tell us about how you guys put together the program as this Video Dream Team.
Yeah, I think you hit on the nail on the head there, David. It's really a combination of having the topic and having that dream team, the people that you can collaborate with. Our Video Rockstars is something that came up, it was an idea of Gina Carr, who's my life partner and business partner, and Lori Brown, a dear mutual friend of ours. You know Lori as well from the Detroit area. Lori is a wonderful lady. Hi, Lori. I hope you're listening to this and enjoying it. Lori is just brilliant in delivering video. She's done this regularly for many corporations. She's in the Detroit area, has worked with GM. She's also done a lot of work internationally with companies and countries around the world. And so they came up with the idea of delivering video, how to do video, how to get started, and how to handle it with things like Facebook Live. how to do it with Zoom, which was what you and I are using right now, David. Great tool for video and for audio. And we're using many other tools like Loom, Loom, a great tool that gives you the ability to create video email messages and other things there. So we're doing that, talking about equipment, what equipment you need, what audio equipment. We talk about specific microphones. And we get really nitty gritty on this is what you need to do to make it happen. Here are common problems. We even got some modules where we say, oh, here's a mistake we made. Look at this. And we say, here, we're just taking it right out in front of everyone. And here's how we corrected it. And here's what you can do to correct that. And it really came about because of the collaboration. Lori Brown and Gina Carr are two people I admire greatly. Of course, Gina being my partner, I admire her greatly, but they come up with ideas where I have to step back. And David, between you and me, I step back and go, that's a really good idea. I'm glad they said that. I wish I would have thought of it. But that collaboration, I think, is really important, that when we put ideas together, it's much better. It's like we say in Silicon Valley a lot, and it's really a Japanese saying, none of us is as smart as all of us. And you think, when we put us together, we get that. Napoleon Hill came up with a similar idea in his mastermind. When you would put people together, that two people together come up with more ideas than either one of them could do individually. And then you add almost a third person by doing that. And then when you add the right group of people, and that's important, the right group of people that have a common purpose, supporting each other, have common philosophical ideas and values. It wouldn't be good to work with someone who has, say, a diametrically opposed views than you do. You and I believe very strongly in giving and helping people. We believe that that's, first of all, the right thing to do as a human being. Being decent, trusting, helping people, and not expecting a return. But I find from a business point of view, the returns come more when you give more. And so if you want to get some more business coming your way, well, the answer is figure out how you can contribute value to others, how they perceive as value. So I think that's part of collaboration. And David, you exemplify that in what you do, in the life you have. And I want to thank you for that as my friend and as a person I've seen do it on a regular basis.
Well, thank you, Terry. And, it goes the other way, too, because I remember this was probably a few years ago. I think this was even when your Clout book came out. Flash to the past here. And you and I, we figure out some way to do something together every few months. And back then, I don't know if you remember this, but it really stuck with me and it really modeled excellence the way that you're just talking about. You said to me, David, people are smart. People know that we're doing this and we're giving, and they know that if they want more, they know something is for sale. They're not dummies. They know they can hire Terry Brock. They know they can sign up for Video Rockstars. That doesn't need to be said. That doesn't need to be pushed. That doesn't need to be peddled. Our main job is to love on people, offer value, invite engagement, get them to know us, like us, trust us, follow our advice. When they have an opportunity, they will remember. They'll remember the givers. They'll remember the experts. They'll remember the people who helped with no expectation of any return, and people are smart. So that whole riff around people are smart, I'll tell you, dude, that stuck with me. And I try and live by that principle that not everything has to be a pitch. Not everything has to be a come on. Not everything has to be an offer. And people are smart and our listeners are smart. And so they know that too. But I just want to thank you for that piece of advice that came years and years ago, because it really landed with me.
You bet. I think it is important because we realize, hey, we're all human beings. We realize we've got to work. We're entrepreneurs. That means we've got things out there we want to sell. We've got services and products, et cetera. But not everyone is in the market yet. And not everyone knows it. And if I try, like in the auto industry, they have a thing called, are you in market? Meaning that, are you ready to buy a car? Well, if you just bought a car or you're really happy with what you got and it's good, for someone to come out and start screaming and yelling, hey, we're making the best deals and you come on by. And I don't know about in Philly, but in Orlando, we have people like that on the radio.
Oh, yes.
And you think that's not going to do it. If anything, it turns us off. And we think, okay, I'm going to remember that particular dealership. And if I ever do need a car, I'm probably not going to go there. I'm going to make it a point to not do that. I'll go to those that are much more caring and that help me in a little more, shall we say, dignified way. And so I think that's good. And even if the people that you're talking to don't ultimately buy from you, that's okay. You're practicing helping. And the more you can practice something, the better you get at it, if you do it the right way. So as you're helping others, it might not be from that person. I'm kind of weird, I think, in karma, that, okay, there's something out there and it can come back from another source. You're getting better and you're helping. And I think our world needs a lot of help today. I think it's needed it for centuries, but I think particularly today, it's good to see some people that are really genuinely caring.
Yeah, absolutely. I generally tell people, listen, if you don't like the word sales, you don't like the word marketing, you can scratch those two words out of your vocabulary and replace them with serving and helping.
Exactly, like our mutual friend Jay Baer talks about. He says that helping is the new selling. And so as you help people, you are there to serve them, to care about them in a genuine, real way, then you're able to sell more from a bottom line point of view. Because yeah, money does matter. You've got to make money. You don't make money, you don't eat. It's real simple. And so you want to make sure you do that. And so I would say if you're having struggles and you're thinking, what am I going to do? Figure out how you can help more people in a real way.
And what better way than video? Hey, this interview is a real moneymaker. If you're serious about ramping up your reach and revenue as a speaker, trainer, or expert, book a confidential speaker strategy call with our team. The link is doitmarketing.com/call. It will be the most valuable 45 minutes you invest in your speaking-driven business. Speaking of value, let's get back to the show. So let's get back to video because I love that list of tools that you just shared. Zoom, Loom, it just happens that they rhyme. So Loom, Zoom, Zoom, Loom. We talked about Facebook Live, just mentioned that for a quick second, YouTube. Let's break it down. Can we break down just platform by platform?
Yeah,
Maybe
that'd be fun. Let's do it.
3 of your best little nuggets about either a use case or a great example of something that you'd recommend our listeners do almost right away, even before they get involved in the Video Rockstars program.
Yeah, I would say a tool that I really like right now is Zoom. You and I are using it right now. We use it a lot, and it's great. And by the way, it's kind of a competitor to Skype. Skype is a great tool, nothing against it. As you know, David, I was the chief enterprise blogger with Skype and worked with them closely. Wonderful group of people. I loved working there, great company. And now, by the way, Microsoft is doing very well. It's like they had some ups and downs, and now I see them coming back up. Good for them. And Microsoft, of course, owns Skype, and it does a good job. But I look at Zoom. I really like Zoom because it gives the ability, number one, for really good quality communication. Your video, I've had many people look at it that have used Skype. They look at Zoom and they go, ooh, that looks nice. The video quality is just a couple of notches ahead. I don't know the technical terms on it, and I'm sure the technical people can tell us all kinds of pixels and other fancy terms. Bottom line is, the way we did it out in the country, it just looks better. And so, hey, that's a good thing. The audio quality, very good as well. But one of the things that is just wonderfully delicious and enticing for those of us who create content is that little button down there on the bottom called record. And I just love that because for those of you that are content creators, you can get someone on the line like David and I are talking right now. Click that record button, and now you create, yes, a video, an MP4 video, and an M4A audio. So you can repurpose that audio, grab sections of it and put it in different places. And I think for that alone, it's worth Zoom. But is that all? No, David, there's even more. Yes, with Zoom, it has all kinds of other features there. One of the things also is what you can do with Skype, you can also do with Zoom, and that is share your screen. So that means, hey, you can use a PowerPoint or Keynote slides to say, let me talk about da-da-da-da. And that way, when you're talking about da-da-da-da, particularly the da-da part of it, the da-da-da, which we know is very important there, you want to make sure that you can say, hey, here's a slide and here's a picture, and you can share your screen. And a nice thing about Zoom compared to some other alternatives is that with Zoom, you have the option of leaving your picture-in-picture on the screen. So they see the slide, but they also see you moving around. You can be animated, moving up and down. You keep interest and attention that way. That's really important. So we avoid that, excuse my language for a moment here, boring. A boring webinar have almost become synonymous. You're able to spice it up, liven it up, and ultimately that means you can communicate better. Those are two features I see in Zoom that are particularly good.
For sure. Now, it's so funny that you mentioned about the picture-in-picture because we're kind of drilling down to some real kind of inside baseball video tricks here. Do you feel that when you do the picture-in-picture, you got the slides on the main screen, but then there's a little postage stamp of you in the corner, animated, presenting, talking into your microphone? Do you feel that adds an element of rapport or personalization? Or we also talk about video being used sometimes as a great behind the scenes tool. So you're writing a new book, shoot a quick video. Hey guys, here's chapter 4. Or, so you're in your office, right? So we're seeing your office, and the folks that are getting the video preview, you'll see Terry in his office with his bookshelves and his flags. And you'll see me here with my crazy whiteboard and my cartoons behind me.
And your door that opened while you were talking.
The door that opened because Woofy the Wonder Dog just came right in, plopped herself
exactly.
down.
Hi, Woofy.
So would you be hesitant to do a Zoom webinar with just the slides without the picture in picture because of that personal behind the scenes rapport element?
Well, I think the answer to that is it depends. Sometimes you would want a more formal, just slides only and not the picture. Okay, I get it. There's a place for that. My style, most of the videos that I create, most that you create, are personality and being us and fun and really emotionally connected is a big part of what we do. Therefore, having the picture in picture is important. I've got a client that I'm working with right now who's running a very nice personal service business, multi-million-dollar operation, and he's doing a lot of video. He's a charismatic, outgoing, very giving person. And so that picture in picture is really important. But there are times when he gets really deep into his very technical, scientific subject matter. And at that point, it's sometimes good maybe pull the picture off for just a moment. And that's the beauty of a tool like Zoom. We have the choice. And you can have, here's a key word, variety. In video, you want variety.
Yeah.
Anything that is on the screen is, here's that ugly word again, boring. If you have just one person on the screen standing there talking to you like this in a monotone voice over and over for 4 hours, it's going to be torture. I mean, this is what we should do with a terrorist. We'd torture them that way. They'd never bother us again. At least that's a theory that I have. But I think what we could do is instead use creativity. Think about how can you take this and make it alive. Now, I agree with the great Earl Nightingale, Dean of Personal Development, who told us that there is no such thing as a boring subject, but there are boring speakers. I think you can take any topic and you can energize it. You can bring it to life by showing the practical application of it. You know, why should we study this? What was there? What can we do? And this is where you have to be creative. Don't say, oh, it's too boring. I mean, you can take, I know people that use taxes. And you think tax law, that can be really, really boring, but they bring it alive. They find ways to make it come alive for you. Some lawyers I know, very boring when they present. Others that bring it alive and you go, I hadn't thought about that. But that does make even that dry, boring subject come to life. So would you bring the picture on? Sometimes you will. Sometimes you won't. In Zoom, I mean, we're getting really nitty gritty here. You have the option of bringing on all your guests. If it's just you, obviously just you. But if you have others, you could bring all of them on the screen or just one. Or you could say, we want it larger. We're going to make it very small, or we can make it larger. You just click your mouse on a particular notice that's in the upper right corner there in Zoom, and you're able to adjust all of that.
Yeah.
So I say it really depends. And what it depends on is you want to make sure that you communicate the best way possible so that you connect. There's the key word. You connect with that audience and deliver a message that they find valuable.
Another thing, and we're just talking about kind of features, but then also the connection and the communication value of it. One of the things that's really cool in Zoom that I have not used to its full extent in any way, shape, or form, you can connect your iPad to Zoom, and then you can do whiteboard illustrations. You can draw diagrams. You can bring people really in, almost like you're in the room working on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
And that's another whole layer of coolness and variety and personalization that maybe even during a Q&A, you pull up the iPad, you start bringing out your sketching app, your favorite drawing app, and you can answer questions and start making lists. And it's handwriting. So that's another personalized way that you can communicate with your audience on Zoom, right?
Yeah, and matter of fact, one of the things you can do, those of you that are speakers, that are authors, et cetera, you also often want to have a video interview with someone when they have a book come out. And David, I remember your excellent book, Do It Marketing. Excellent book, packed full of great ideas. When it came out, you were kind enough to let me interview you and talk about that book. And so that while we were talking about the book, I could bring it up on the screen. Those of you who are authors, think about what we're doing here. We bring it up on the screen using this technique. And I go, oh, over here on page 75, David, you talked about da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm reading it. We're showing it on the screen. And your picture and mine are in there in picture. Tell us a little bit more, David, about the stuff you're talking about here on page 75, da-da-da-da. And then I make another click and you come back on the screen, full screen. People have seen it. They've locked it into their brain. And you do that several times throughout the book. It's a great way to use what I like to call the Costco strategy. Because we all know that. Those of us that have gone to Costco, we know they have all these wonderful people that are around there with samples. Oh, we've got some nice little goodies here. Would you like a sample? Oh, it's free. Oh, well, sure. I'll try that. And you taste it and you go, whoa, that really is good. I'd sure like some of that. Well, you know, we've got some here for you today. And if you buy 3, you get 1 free, etc. And so you should do it. You go, Martha, should we buy some of that? Well, sure. Let's put it in the cart. And so you're giving something free. And in your book, you're saying, here are some of the best parts of it. Here are some areas that really solve problems of that target market. And they read it and they go, whoa, that's good. And I can get it now. And yeah, and if you buy now, you get this and this and this as bonuses, etc. So what we're doing here is we're talking about the technology, but we're translating it through, yes, to sales, but even more important, you're connecting with people. You're building those relationships by using technology.
And Terry, you'll be pleased to know I'm no longer allowed inside Costco because I always leave with 128 slices of cheese.
Well, they do have good cheese there, I hear, and lots of other good items. And actually, you know what we're doing right now, Gina and I, we've discovered we have Instacart here in Orlando, and they go to Costco, and they go to our local stores, Publix, and they bring it to us. So that's really, really nice. And we're working with Brian and other wonderful people that are there, and they know what we want. They know our style, and that works out really well. But I'm getting sidetracked.
But then you don't get the sampling benefit, nor do you get seduced into buying 128 slices of cheese that you'll never eat.
That is exactly right, my friend.
Let's talk about Facebook Live. I know Facebook Live is super hot right now. YouTube, of course, is the granddaddy of internet video. What are some differences? Like, when should people look at a Facebook Live strategy? Let's say they have a ton of videos on YouTube already. What's Facebook Live going to give them that YouTube doesn't give them? And sort of where do the twain meet?
Yeah, I think Facebook Live right now is wonderfully electric. At this moment, as we're recording this, it is one of the hottest ways to deliver content because it has the benefits of video that we're talking about, but you can also bring in the live interaction. It's like a live sporting game. We want to see when like you have a team up there called the Eagles. Do they do anything with football? I think
I've heard they do. They dabble in that.
Yeah, they dabble in that. Yes, indeed. As of last year, and we, by the way, glad to see that happen with the Eagles winning. But we like the live event, and there's an excitement and an electricity that's in the air with something that is live. Particularly then when you can also have feedback. See, that's another benefit of Facebook Live is that you have people sending comments. Hey, I like this. Or got a question about such and such. What do you think about the new Oodly Boodlies? Oh, well, the Oodly Boodlies, let me tell you about them. And then you can directly help people with the response they need. I also like the idea that with Facebook Live, you can take Zoom. Here's our old friend Zoom again. And they have a special feature with their webinar package. If you get that, you can then bring in, say, 2 or 3 other people and do a Facebook Live. Think about the benefits you can do here. I could say bring in Mary Smith from New York and Jane Doe from Los Angeles, who are wonderful people, both knowledgeable in blue widgets, but they have a different opinion on a particular area. And I can talk to Mary and say, Mary, what do you think about da-da-da-da-da-da? She talks about it. Then I turn over and say, but Jane, you have a slightly different view on that. What is your thought on that? And now I'm taking that with Zoom, bringing in the 3 of us, a moderator, me, and then the 2 others, and then I can bring them in and deliver it through Facebook so that now we get feedback that way. We're getting people coming on and saying who they are. There's a nice thing about Facebook also. And that's important in this culture that we have today. I've delivered webinars before. David, I think you have as well. And I've done some that have brought in literally thousands of people. And unfortunately, we could bring in thousands and thousands of people, but there might be one person who's going to use language and say certain things that I just find despicable. David, you and I have heard all the colorful terms, all those colorful military terms. We've heard them. There's a place for that. But also there's a place where I'm just not going to tolerate someone talking about the degrading hate speech, the vile language, the way they're describing certain groups of people and what they would describe to do. It's just, no, that's not appropriate. With Facebook, you're going to get a lot less of that. The reason? People have to identify who they really are. They can't hide behind, I'm 6R35GQ. No, you can do that on YouTube. You can do that in some places. And I understand there's a place where people want their anonymity. But on YouTube, you sometimes can get that kind of talk, and I have received it. And I'm not talking about stuff that, it's not like it's going to offend me or anything, but I'm just saying, no, this is not appropriate. And the kinds of comments that came through, I'm not going to tolerate that. On Facebook, it still could happen. However, you could always trace it back to, it was this person, we know who he or she is, we trace it to them. So I see Facebook Live has a real benefit there on that. Plus, when it's over, Facebook gives you an MP4 video of that you can then take and repurpose over to your YouTube channel on Vimeo. You can take it over to LinkedIn. You can take it a number of different places. And here's that magic word that helps you in marketing, repurpose it. by repurposing your content, you're able to get extra benefits out of it. You could take a portion of it and put it on Instagram or IGTV. So you could put it there, and now you're getting multiple exposures because some people will see you on LinkedIn that might have missed you or don't even go to Facebook. I've bumped into people that say, I don't want to use Facebook at all. They have a personal vendetta against what they perceive as wrongdoing at Facebook. Okay, that's their business. But if I want to reach them, I now know I need to hang out where they hang out, wherever that might be. So I think Facebook Live is giving us some real potential, particularly when you couple it with a tool like Zoom that lets you bring on more people. You bring all the benefits and features of Zoom into a Facebook group or a Facebook page, and you're able to target a given group of people. And that's where the magic of marketing comes in. Being a generic everything to everybody doesn't work as well. David, you've done this so marvelously. You have really become a specialist and an expert on helping speakers, helping people who deliver messages either orally or they also write a lot. And so you have created a lot of products that help people in those specific areas. And you can take that and put it on a place where those kind of people hang out, called a group. And a Facebook group is beautiful for that. So you see all these elements are coming together with great video, great audio. You've got Facebook, which is popular. You've got a group in Facebook. So it's people who are interested in a particular area. And now you bring in Zoom so that you have the benefit of, where appropriate, bringing in more than one person, 2 or 3 people, et cetera, and sharing screens, things like that. All that you could do with Zoom, now you bring to that. That combination is good. As been said many times before, the magic is in the mix.
Super quick commercial break. Isn't this interview amazing? If you'd like to get more ideas on how to start or grow your speaking business fast, pop over to our free training at doitmarketing.com/webinar. Well, and speaking of mix, I know that you jump in to the Superman phone booth from time to time, and you go from technology expert and marketing coach into professional speaker for large corporate groups. And what you and I talked about before we flipped on the camera is, on the corporate side, there is increasing interest as a technology expert for you in cryptocurrency, blockchain. I know that many of our listeners have no idea what that is. They may have heard the term Bitcoin, but in 2 minutes or less, in your beautiful plain English, translating the complex into the fairly simple, what is going on with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and blockchain? And are we all going to be, transported into some digital virtual world soon and have a digital cost code that only takes Bitcoin? And what's all going on in there? And then how do you help your audiences make sense of that for what they can do today to get ready for that?
Well, in a very short and succinct way, a lot. A lot is going on in the field of cryptocurrencies and blockchain because it is a breakthrough technology. I've been around technology since the late 70s, working with it, doing a lot there, and I've seen it morph and change throughout the years. What we're seeing with cryptocurrencies and with blockchain is even bigger than the internet. You think, whoa, that's pretty big. But it's like, think where we were in the early 90s when we were touting this information superhighway. That's what they called it. And the internet, and we didn't know what it was, but I thought it was just a real fast way to send messages with this newfangled thing called email. And that's basically what we saw. And then we realized, you can have this wonderful new thing called the World Wide Web, and you could have pictures there and all that. And I remember at that time, it was being used for a number of different activities, some of which was activities like with porn, with adult information, etc. And I remember I went to see my sister, and she had a dear friend who at the time had 2 small children. And she said very firmly, very adamantly, I will never let my children get on the internet. And I thought, well, why? And she said, because the internet is just dirty pictures and filth, and I don't want my children exposed to that. Well, I can understand where she's coming from as a mother. She wanted to take care of her children, very young children at that time. And that's what she thought the internet was. We saw quickly, no, it's not just that. It's used for a lot of things. And there's areas we're using it now, like with Facebook, like with video here with Zoom. We never even dreamed of that with the internet back in the early 90s. Today, fast forward, cryptocurrencies and blockchain are in a similar place. Blockchain gives you the ability to have security that we really need, much better than we've ever seen before. As an example, David, you're probably familiar with what happened just a little while ago with Equifax. 123 million had their private information exposed. That's a lot. David, that your mother's maiden name and where you went to elementary school and your best friend when you were a child and all those things that you keep secret and we use as passwords, we know that now. We know that about you because Equifax was broken into. It was one location, and the bad guys figured out how to break into that one location. Think of it this way. If there was, say, $1 million in a location, or say $100 million in a location, would the bad guys be willing to spend $1 million to get access to that 100 million? Of course, in the bad guy world, this is business. Would they spend 2 million to get that 100 million? Sure. 10 million? Probably. 50 million? Probably. And et cetera, right up to probably almost a full 100 million. However, what if instead of that 100 million in one place, it was in a million different places, all of which changed their algorithms every 15 minutes? And all of which had to agree that it was a correct change before anything could be changed. It was immutable, unchangeable. And what was done once was never changed. Woo! Now you're in something that is pretty close to solid security that can't be broken. That's what blockchain is all about. It's a distributed ledger. And it's a way for people to keep track of what's going on. Now we put a currency on top of it, which was the first use of that, where with money, you can take something and you can make sure that it is not copied. See, with a computer, I can give you an audio file. You can make a copy of that, and it sounds just as good as the original. You can make all the copies you want. With money, that's a problem. See, with money, I need to be able to say, here is a dollar bill, David. You will give me a good. We have agreed on that price. Here it is. Here's the bill. You give it to me. We make sure that you can't copy that dollar bill. That would be, we call illegal. They have systems in place for that in the real world for that. However, with technology, that was the problem, the double spend. So it would be spent twice. Now, with blockchain, they put together a code. Satoshi Nakamoto, the person who was the founder and wrote that for Bitcoin, the person or persons, either he or she, it's kind of an anonymous person there, put that together and did a brilliant job with it. So that now we know that David and Terry made an exchange for X number of Bitcoin, and that cannot be changed. And others see that because it's all in that blockchain of Bitcoin. Immutable, cannot be changed. And the only way to alter it is by doing something different in the future that everyone also knows about. And so you think, this has some real possibilities. But the cryptocurrencies give people the ability to do what they want with their money. If you and I say, hey, I want to buy that thing from you. I see that picture you got on the wall there, or next to your shoulder there. I like that. I want to buy that. And you say, Terry, I'll let you have it for $200. I say, okay, $200, that's a bargain. I want it. You say, great, Terry, you can have it. You and I can just take our cell phones, hold them up to our screens here, write in a code, and I send you $200 worth of Bitcoin, and you see that it came through on your account, and we say, great, here it is. And you send it over. And we have an agreement set up that way, and no one can stop us. No one can say, we deny your credit card. We're not going to let you do that. You're over your limit. None of that. And also, here's another thing. I send you the $200. I can't come back and go, no, I don't like it. You got to give me my $200 back. I'm going to go to my credit card company and stop. No. There's no chargebacks. And so it becomes between two people who agree and act in a professional way.
So this is okay. So see, I never understood this before, which is why when I said I have no idea how this works, I was serious. This is like digital cash.
Yes.
This is not like PayPal. It's not like doing a bank transfer. All of those things work within those controlled third-party systems. This is as if I had given you $200 cash, or you give me $200 cash and I give you, and it's totally private and it's totally outside of any third-party system other than the Bitcoin exchange, where this is all secure and it's between person to person, correct?
Yeah, it's person to person, peer to peer. We're doing that way. It is not completely private. And you can find out what happened because there's a record. It's not your name, but it's a code, like 16 digits that would be there of letters and numbers that look kind of crazy. But if we say, okay, we can attribute these numbers and letters in this combination to David Newman. Now, if we want, and we really want to spend a lot of time, effort, and money into it, we can go back and find out what you have done with that particular code.
Fantastic. So I just wanted to kind of take a little peek behind the scenes and see what some of your corporate speaking, association, and conference speaking centered on. I know that most of our time was with video today, but let's see where this crypto thing goes, and we'll have you back and we'll do a full show just on that, because by then maybe professional speakers will start getting paid in cryptocurrency, and wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, yes, that is happening now. That is a fact that's there, and it's really nice. So I say the thing is, don't worry about all the details. Just realize it's hot, and it's going to get even hotter.
Fantastic. So I'm going to ask you two final questions. The final question is, how can people get connected and stay connected to you and find out more about Video Rockstars and all that good stuff? But even before I get to question number two, question number one if people were to take one key concept from our conversation today, what would you hope that would be?
Video is an opportunity for you to connect with people and build relationships. It gives you the ability now, as never before in history, to connect with people in an I'm almost there with them kind of way. And you're able to build that. Of course, person to person, shaking their hand is the best. But the reality is our world is very diverse today. And we have an international community. With video, you can connect with people in London, in Tokyo, in Santiago, Chile, in your backyard, in your town, all on the same day without leaving home. We know that, of course, but start thinking about the possibilities. I would challenge those of you that are listening to this today. Think about ways you can take your goods and services and connect by leveraging what you're doing. Get to know this medium more. You think, okay, I know it right now. I've watched videos on YouTube, yes, and that is a part of it, but there's so much more. And there's a lot of opportunities for you to connect with people, not only in a business way. When you think of if a minister or a rabbi wants to connect with people more, this is a wonderful way to do it, human to human, and really have genuine, real relationships.
So how can our audience of humans connect with you, Terry Brock, the human, and learn more about what you do, get updates from you, see what's going on in Terry world?
Well, Terry is on a variety of platforms. I'm out there all over at Facebook and Twitter. The best way to do it, just remember my website. It's terrybrock.com. And since this is audio, that's Terry. And Brock is spelled the right way, Brock. So it's terrybrock.com. You remember that. You can go there. You'll find a host of ways we can do it, including Steam It, which is an exciting platform where content creators get a chance to make money and really do it. Now, David, just yesterday, I was coming home from getting some errands done at the local mall. I hopped in my Uber. On the way back, I experimented with a little way to do it, put a post out on Steam It, and made $11.87. I think, hey, this is good. Not bad at all to make money, just sitting in the Uber riding home when I figured out a new little technique. And that's what digital currency and all the marketing, the video, and the connection is all about.
Awesome. Well, Terry Brock, will you come back if we have more questions?
Would love to. And matter of fact, questions are what I love to address. I find that actually, David, for you and me, questions are great because they're really good market research for us. This is real world material, and it helps me rather than me standing back going, let me pontificate and tell you what I think is so good. Well, that might have a little place, but what's even better is when people say, Terry, what about the da-da-da-da-da-da-da? And I go, ooh, that's a real good one. Well, let's see. And if I know the answer, I'm glad to do it. If not, let me go see my friends over there at Google and find, or DuckDuckGo, which is even better because it's private and secret. And so we can go in there and find that out, and it works really well.
Awesome. And then that would be the answer to that question is probably going to be your next Facebook Live.
Yeah, so Facebook Live is something that we're doing on a regular basis now and enjoying it and planning to do even more. So we'd love to hear what information do you, those of you listening to this, what do you want to know? What would be your most persistent question? And by the way, David, you and I agree on this. There are no dumb questions. Only the things that you want to know. That's what's important to us.
Awesome. Well, thank you, my friend. Fantastic interview, and we'll see you next time.
David, always great to be with you. Thank you.
Well, that wraps up another episode of The Speaking Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on iTunes. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thespeakingshow.com. See you next time.